The people who succeed really put in the time because you have to love it. You have to love like the process and love learning. It's not just about the money. Like the money is a byproduct. Success is a byproduct of your hard work and passion. So like I have nearly 36 millionaire students. Most of them made very little to nothing or even lost money in year 1 or year 2 while learning, while trading small. My top student, Tim Gratani, made nothing his first 9 months. If you're studying and trading every day for 9 months and you make nothing, are you going to continue? Because he was learning. He was focused on it. My top upcoming student, Jack Kellogg, has made $12 million now. He lost $2,600 his first year. He paid me like $5,000 for the challenge and he lost $2,600. So you're down basically $7,500 after year 1. And it's like, this is a scam. You have to learn.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Money Mondays. We have a very special guest today. I've known this gentleman for, I think, a decade now. He has over 14,000 students and growing that he teaches about stock trading, investing, and learning all things to make money online. Please welcome our very special guest, Mr. Timothy Sykes.
Hey, thanks for having me.
The crowd goes wild.
See you guys.
We are co-hosted here with the real Tarzan. As you guys know, Tarzan gets over 200 million views a month teaching and showcasing animal content. So I'm very happy to have him here. Timothy and Tarzan have actually traveled the planet together, and they actually work on a charity together, which is what we're going to get to today. Timothy, there's only 3 topics we go over.
Cool. How
to make money, how to invest money, and how to give it away to charity.
I like it.
You are the perfect candidate to talk about all 3 of those topics. So if you could, give us a 2-minute bio so we can get straight to the money.
Sure. I was a tennis player, but I'm Jewish, so I can't be good at sports. So I got injured. My parents gave me control of my Bar Mitzvah gift money, $12,000, thinking I would lose it all. It would be a good lesson. Instead, I got obsessed with just looking at every single stock chart, finding patterns. I was right place, right time back in 2000. Made basically $100,000 senior year of high school.
Whoa.
Nearly $1 million freshman year in college. Blew my mind. I'm from a small town in Connecticut. I've been trading ever since. Made millions of dollars trading, but then I didn't have any rules or risk management. 8 years in, I was like really lucky. I was like the Jewish Forrest Gump. Eventually it caught up with me, lost a third of it, my money, my hedge fund. I was a cocky, dumb kid, so ruined all my industry credibility. But then I was on this TV show called Wall Street Warriors, drunk in every episode, so very entertaining compared to all the other boring people, one of whom turned out to be a fraud and is in jail. Shout out Gish Shemai. But, I did have a good trading strategy before I lost a third of it when I tried investing without the rules that I didn't realize were so important. So came back to trading, right place, right time. This website called Covestor, tapped into your brokerage account back in 2007, 2008. And I gotten a lot of people wanting to learn from the TV show. So I was like, let me go back to my $12,000, prove that I can do it again. Tapped into Covestor, verified everything, became the #1 ranked trader out of 60,000 on Covestor. Didn't quite turn the 12,000 into millions like I did before, but 12,000 into $250,000 in 3 years. Showing every trade, video lessons, blog posts, documenting the strategy. Now built it back up again over time. I have 8,000 video lessons plus. Wow. I give 2 to 3 live webinars a week. Over $7.5 million in trading profits. I go back to the small amount every year, donate all my trading profits to charity because that made it more meaningful to me. The adrenaline rush of profits disappears after a while. So now we've built 115 schools, $8 million donated so far, traveling the world. We did a documentary on the rhinos in South Africa, one on saving sharks, saving coral reefs. Right now we're working on a documentary with our new schools in Bali. And just poverty in the third world. So very fortunate to make a lot, travel a lot, and now give back.
There's a lot to unpack there.
It's all over the place.
So we're going to go in our steps.
Cool.
Making money, investing money, giving away to charity.
Yeah.
All right, on the making money side, how does Timothy Sykes make money? You have one part of your life is actually trading and one part of your life is teaching. And you've got, like I said, like 14,000-ish students. Talk to us about both.
So it's all mixed in. I still trade every day. I make a watch list. I make video lessons. I'm trying to focus on the hottest stocks, but I trade with a small account. I trade for charity. So technically I make 0 from trading these days, which is fine by me. Still donate, in 2020, 2021, I made over $1 million each year in trading profits, all donated, but showing the process. That's the key, right? Most people have small accounts. Like, I have 14,000 students, but most of them have like a $2,000, $3,000 account. So I'm showing them how do you actually do something in the stock market with small amounts. Like you can't just invest in like, a mutual fund. Even if you make 10% per year, you're going to make $200 a year. It's a waste of time. Inflation's going to crush you. So I'm showing speculative strategies with low price stocks, penny stocks that everyone in the world hates, but I think they're really good for small accounts if you understand the risks. 90% of traders lose. So most people, it's just like teaching them how not to lose. For me, rule number one is cut losses quickly. So I'm doing video lessons, I'm doing webinars, all teaching the rules on how to trade speculative stocks, but also do it thinking about the potential losses. Like it's nice you say like, oh, make money, like give back. Most people don't make money, right? So you can't give back. And then you need to focus on like, how do you grow a small account? And this is what I'm really good at. Now 35 millionaire students. They usually start with like $2,000 or $3,000. My top student has now made 15 million. And so it's like showing the power of small accounts and like growing exponentially. No different than like with a business, but like with trading, you learn how to make, 20% on a trade using $5,000, then 50,000, then 500,000. There's limited scalability. Like I'll never make $1 billion trading penny stocks, but you can make, a few 100,000 or a few million a year, which is more than enough for most people.
So walk through the levels of your training. Like, is there like something people can just learn online? Do they learn from you? Do they go to live events? Like walk us through price point, like walk us through the main things you can talk about of your training world.
Yeah. So, I mean, teaching is not an exact science, right? Like everyone learns a little differently. We do in-person events, but it's mainly online. Like I give live webinars, Q&A webinars. You see my screen, you can see me trading. My top students are now helping other students learn. So, I have the trading challenges where all my millionaire students come from. You pay a few $1,000s for a year. You get live webinars, watch lists, video lessons, separate chat room. And it's just a whole community focused on, teaching. There's other levels too, like lower levels where if you don't want to pay a few $1,000s, we have like $75 a month. You get a chat room, you get watch lists, you get alerts, you get some video lessons. So it's a mix. But the key is like, everyone always wants hot picks. Everyone's like, oh, what's the next hot pick? And I'm like, no, I'm a history teacher. I'm teaching basic patterns that work more times than not. And I still lose. Like people think like, oh, if you study enough, you can win 100% of the time. I lose like 30% of the time. But my losses are like 1 or 2 or 3% because I cut losses quickly. And then my wins are like 10 or 20%. So if your wins are bigger than your losses and you win more often than you lose, your account grows. The key is staying disciplined. So I'm basically teaching like degenerate gamblers discipline, which is not an easy thing. They always want to trade. They want the action. It's not even about the profits for them. They want the action. Like what's next? What's next? Oh, AI stocks are moving. Let me trade this. Oh, weed stocks are moving. Let me trade this. And usually they take subpar trading setups and they get subpar results. I say like, if you trade random setups, you're going to get random results. You'll have losses. You'll get frustrated. So I'm teaching people to be very meticulous. I usually only take one trade at a time. And I focus my energy. Not that I'm like trading huge, just I'm focused on it. So if it goes the opposite way, I'm out for a 1 or 2% loss.
So you said that 90% of traders lose. Why do you think that, one, that they're losing? And two, why do you think a lot of people buy things like gym memberships or training courses and then don't follow through?
The answer is the same for both. It's a lack of discipline. It's a lack of patience. Even if most of my students don't study hard enough, those who do succeed because it's all about knowledge. It's all about preparation. When I say 90% of traders lose, that's just an industry stat. But, with gym memberships, 90% of people with a gym membership don't go to the gym. They're still paying the fees. We were talking about this earlier. New Year's resolutions, January, like, oh, I'm going to do things differently this year. So gym membership is high. Gyms know this, right? Gyms can literally track the number of users, and it's pretty much the same every year. January, biggest month of the year by far for gym memberships. February fades a little bit. March, it goes lower. April, very low. May, we were talking about this, oh, you want a good summer body. So May, there's a spike. So you're understanding human psychology. We want to get better. We want to get fit. We can't all be like Tarzan. I looked at him dude, this hoodie, he's wearing the Karmagawa merch. This is our charity merch. I'm like, yo, we need to send him some extra clothes. But he's lifting, he's working out. You're always working. I'm always working. The people who succeed really put in the time because you have to love it. You have to love the process and love learning. It's not just about the money. The money is a byproduct. Success is a byproduct of your hard work and passion. So even okay, I have, nearly 36 millionaire students. Most of them made very little to nothing or even lost money in year 1 or year 2 while learning, while trading small. My top student, Tim Gratani, made nothing his first 9 months. If you're studying and trading every day for 9 months and you make nothing, are you going to continue? Because he was learning. He was focused on it. My top upcoming student, Jack Kellogg, has made $12 million now. He lost $2,600 his first year. He paid me like $5,000 for the challenge, and he lost $2,600. So you're down basically $7,500 after year 1. And it's like, oh, this is a scam. You have to learn. If you focus on something like huge, right? Like when you bought this, whole beautiful, park that we're in right now. I don't even know. What do you call it? Ranch? Sure. I call it a park, right? It's the park of dreams. If you build it, they will come. That's like this whole thing. I see like Field of Dreams kind of thing. You had to take a loss at first investing in this, but you get paid back over time. So it's the same thing with, gyms. Like if you want to be fit, it sucks, but you got to go through it and you get like rewards year 2, year 3, year 4. So you just have to go in with the right perspective. A lot of what I teach is just mental, right? Like you don't need to be in a trade every single second. AI is blowing up, but it's not blowing up like overnight. Like it's not like, oh my God, I need an AI stock today. What if there's good news and there's an AI stock 3 days from now, but you're in a subpar stock because you're a degenerate gambler and you wanted action right now? So having a whole perspective, teaching like the whole journey. And this is like, from myself turning a few thousand into several million, and now 36 students turning a few thousand into several million. There's a process here. It's not fun. It takes dedication, but if you have the right perspective and you think, okay, it's a marathon, not a sprint, year 3, year 4, year 5, that's what you're really training for. Like right now, we're filming this in April 2023. What can you do in April? What can you do in May? What can you do in June of 2023 to make 2028, 2029, 2030 the best year ever? People don't want to think that way, right? It's like instant gratification. Like I want to get rich overnight. I want to build things overnight. It doesn't work like that. Literally. And some people start, like I have students who are like, oh, I'm going to be your next millionaire. Let me start with like 100,000. They inevitably lose more because they're untrained and they're trading with a big amount. So I actually encourage people, if you think you should start with like 100,000 or 50,000, start with like 5,000. Start very small because most likely you're going to lose because you need to learn a lot of like counterintuitive rules. Like cutting losses quickly is not fun. Some of my best trades, I lose 1 or 2%. And I show every trade publicly. So I post my losses and like my haters are like, Sykes lost again. And I'm like, yeah, I did. That's part of the game. Right. So being real, being passionate, and being dedicated.
So for all of our events, I either over-invite 40% of people. A free event, we have elevator nights, which is free. We've done it 51 times. If I have room for 500, I let at least 700 register because about 40% don't show up.
That's good. You're above average.
When it comes to our masterminds, we expect 20%. People that paid $35,000 or $100,000 don't show up. They paid $100,000 and 20% of them don't show up.
Yeah.
And so I asked about the mentality of the gym or info products or teaching, like what is the mentality behind why people don't show up? And I've encountered it for years. And it's fascinating to me because they will then justify it no matter what. And they'll either blame it on you, or they'll blame it on the gym, or they'll blame it on the instructor, or they'll blame it on the weather, or their significant other. They always find something to blame it on. All right. The other parts of the making money side. When we go through chaos, would you say that's a good time for the stock market or a bad time for the stock market to make money?
Chaos is fantastic. Panic is fantastic. I'm sorry to be like the bearer of bad news, but like, when other people are panicking, especially unprepared people, that creates opportunity. Like if you were going to get your own ranch, like you don't buy when ranch prices are at their peak. You wait for a real estate crash. You wait for somebody, maybe they have gambling debts and they need to sell like a good asset to cover their bad debts. That's when you have opportunity. So for me, one of my best dip buying opportunities is dip buying penny stocks that have recently risen. Stocks that are recently up 100, 200, 300, 500% in a few days, whether it's AI, whether it's some promoted stock or something, right? There's penny stock promoters like Wolf of Wall Street and Wannabe Wolf of Wall Street. You don't chase it because it usually does come in. And when it comes in, because most people who trade are very unsophisticated, they start to panic. So they put stop losses, right? So like you can use a stop loss, which is like an automatic order with your broker. So like, let's say a stock has gone from 1 to 7 in the past few days and you missed it. Maybe you sat on the sidelines, whatever. It starts coming down 6, 5, 4, people who have ridden it up and maybe didn't take profits, they start to want to be like, oh shoot, this could come down. Stop losses go off at key round numbers. Newbies use like round numbers for stop losses. So it's like a tsunami of selling. So a stock that goes from 1 to 7 in let's say 5 days can go back down to like 3 or 4 in like 1 hour. You know, I get these morning panics, and sometimes there's a 40 or 50% panic in a morning. This is one of my favorite patterns. The promoters stop, the stop losses go off, the newbies get, you know, the weak hands get crushed out, and then you have a 40 or 50% off sale in one morning. It's like, you know, going to like a Black Friday sale at like Macy's, and you get your favorite sweater like 50% off. Not exactly, because stocks, when they drop 50%, they're different companies. But by and large, when you dip by a penny stock that's down 40 or 50%, no matter the news, even if the news is terrible, like I've bought penny stocks where like the FBI have raided the company, and I've bought the dip because, get this, even if the FBI raids the company's not necessarily out of business right away. And if there's enough promoters, the promoters want to bounce the stock, because if the stock crashes all at once, the promoters get investigated. They probably like get locked up. So even terrible companies like scams, I will dip by. I do blog posts. I wrote like why I invested $50,000 into this scam, and people are like, "What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Tell us."
Because again, I'm not in it for the long term. So I usually hold for a few hours, maybe a few days max. But if a stock is down enough, and this, you know, really works with penny stocks, but it works with cryptos too, I hear. I don't trade cryptos. Sorry if you think that you're talking to me on like WhatsApp or LinkedIn or Telegram. I'm not on any of those. There's so many crypto scams. But the point is, you're buying a recently hot asset where there is some momentum or some promotion going on, and you buy the panic. And it usually can bounce 10, 20, 30% in a few minutes, hours, or days. Then I lock it in. Over and over and over again. And guess what? If there is no bounce, rule number 1, I cut losses quickly. So it's very meticulous trading. Most people don't do that. Most people are like, I heard a tip. Oh, my gut instinct. Oh, this is my lucky number. If you try to rely on luck, you're not going to succeed. You need to find a strategy where you win more times than not. This is like you investing in so many businesses. You have a formula that has worked over the years. So every time you go in, right? Like when you're dealing with animals, you're using your own experience. So I'm using my 20 plus years of trading experience on every trade. That gives me an advantage.
So I always say to people that want to gamble at blackjack or baccarat or pai-gow or slot machines, I say Las Vegas and all these casinos were built based off people's feelings, their intuitions.
So I say that the canal of the Venetian, it's all water. I say those are people's tears from gamblers who have lost, and they're crying into the Venetian canal.
The Venetian has the Palazzo and 2 more towers. The Wynn has the Encore. You know why? Because they kept making money. Caesar's Palace has multiple towers. MGM has multiple towers. Bellagio has multiple towers. Every major property has multiple towers, not because people can win at gambling. I am a high-stakes gambler. I play short periods of time, very calculated, and if I have any emotion to it, I stop. Because once you have emotion to it or a feeling, and if my friends come there and they're like, "Oh no, do this, like stay on 16," I'm like, I don't have emotion to this. Oh, let's split these 7s here. I'm like, I don't have emotion to this.
Once you start thinking about it too much and you rely on luck or superstition, again, sometimes you do win and then you learn the wrong lesson. You're like, oh, science, data, it doesn't apply to me. My mom told me I'm special. I say, no, your mom was a liar, okay? You're not special. You, me, everybody, we're the average. And you might get lucky every now and then, but you can't build any sustainable wealth or sustainable business off luck. So you know, high stakes gambling, you go in for a short period of time. Me, high stakes penny stock trading, I'm very meticulous. I go in for short periods of time because that's more predictable. I don't know what a stock is going to do over a month, over a year, over 5 years, or a sector for that matter, right? Like, you know, what happened with the whole metaverse? Like everyone invested so much into NFTs, into metaverse, all crashed. It's still going to come back. I still think there's technological promise, but you can't rely on something where there's no good odds. I like good odds in my favor.
So the reason that I play short periods of time for gambling is the same reason that casinos want you to play at least 4 hours to earn your rewards and points. Over the course of 4 hours, it's mathematically impossible to win. Let's just make it simple. Let's say Timothy and I were flipping a quarter, but Timothy has 52 quarters and I have 48. Who's going to win if we do that for the next 4 hours? Him, every time, because he has 52 quarters. I have 48 quarters. I literally can't win because he's got 4 extra quarters. Now, sometimes I might get close to even. Sometimes I might squeak out one win of our flip heads versus tails. But mathematically, over the course of 4 hours, Tim's going to win over and over and over and over because he's got 52 quarters. I have 48. Why does that matter? I'm playing a game like blackjack where it's 52% versus 48%. Or playing a game like roulette and people are like, oh, there's 35 numbers. Well, there's also a green 0 and a double 0. And so just those two little numbers, when you take the math of 35 divided by 2, there's an extra 4 or 5% that the house wins over and over and over and over. And so the reason I play short periods of time, and people that are listening, when your casino host says they want you to play for 4 hours, it's because you literally and mathematically and unequivocally cannot win. There is no emotion to it. It's just math and time. So over the course of 1,000 hands, if he's got 520 quarters and I have 480 quarters, I can't win. So keep that in mind next time you guys go to Vegas. Play for short sessions, or most importantly, play with a small amount of money, just like Tim said with stock market. Play with a small amount of money, have some fun until you learn the game. All right. We talked a lot about making money. Let's talk about the investing side. Outside of investing in the stock market, are there things that you like to invest into, and what would make you excited since you do so well in the stock market? What would make you want to invest into real estate or a company or startup, et cetera?
Yeah, again, it's getting odds on your side, or where you have some kind of edge. Like, for me, like I invest in other, stock market related info products because I know the game. Like I know, okay, this is a good quality product. This is what like consumers need. For me, I'm not going to really invest outside my expertise because I have no edge. And then again, you're just gambling. You can't gamble and succeed. I know people want that. They love the feeling. They love the thrill of it. But if you have the odds in your favor, even if it's just by a little bit, it might not be exciting, but it pays more over time. And that's not to say that you win all the time. Like I wanted to mention with casinos, you think like, wow, I should just invest in casinos. They win every time. If there's too many people that, don't gamble, like, during COVID or something, right? The casinos lose money because they have basic costs, and most businesses do. So it's not like a surefire way to make money, but the odds are on your side. You need to find.
That's a horse.
Can they hear that?
It's okay.
No, I wanted them to hear it. That we have like crazy things.
There's a bunch of horses in the background.
There's horses in the background. It's cool. The point is that like you have to get experience to find, like for me, like the dip buying penny stock patterns. I've been doing this 20 plus years. I know it inside and out. I know what a good bounce will look like. I know what a bad bounce will look like. Again, I still can lose on any trade, but I use my experience. You're using your experience. Like you don't know, like you're dealing with like wildlife. Anything can happen, wild animals, but you're using your experience to lessen your risk. And like you're seeing, okay, this is what has worked. Like how many times have you picked up a snake before? And now you know how to pick up a snake. Versus me, I just saw the snakes in the other room and I'm like, yo, I don't know which is poisonous. I have no idea. I just assume the worst. I always say assume the worst every time. And this is a cynical way of looking at it. But if 90% of traders lose, like most investors lose, like just be extra safe. I don't think that you can be too safe. Too many people like the risk. They like the action. Like, oh, I don't know which snake is poisonous. Let me pick up all of them. Like, that's not good. That's how, like, you've been bitten, but you know what you're doing. How long have you worked with animals?
My whole life. 23 years.
Right? So you have a lot of experience. So, if you were betting on me or him, like who's going to handle snakes better, right? Like, why would you bet on me?
I'm all in.
Right? That's a good bet. Yeah. And again, I might get lucky. There might be like some like crazy snake that like doesn't like Tarzan or something. So it's not like 100%, but the odds would favor him doing better. So you need to find games, industries, investments with odds in your favor. And just little odds can really add up over time. It can stack up over time. Like gyms make money over time because they know 90% of their people are not going to go to the gym. They know it, but people are still paying. Same thing with me, although I'm not happy when my students don't study. So a lot of what I post is like trying to get people to study. Like I have tweets, I have videos, I have photos. I'm like, just put in the time. I'm like a glorified history teacher trying to teach, students to learn from history. And they're like, oh, I don't want to watch a video lesson or DVD from 8 years ago. I just want hot picks now. But I'm like, if I'm a history teacher and I'm studying different empires of the past, you study like the Egyptian Empire, the Byzantine Empire, the Roman Empire, that way you can then learn, okay, this is what it takes to have an empire. And then you apply that in the future. Obviously, every empire is different. Every time is different. But the more you study your past, the better prepared you are. So it's good that you have experience with animals, but if you can study too, right? Like if you can learn from other people, you haven't necessarily visited every country in the world or dealt with every animal in the world. If you're looking to deal with a new animal, what are you going to do? You're going to go on YouTube. You're going to see what some expert does with this animal. Like we can learn so much online these days. Like this is the most unique time in history. Sure. Like we're filming this in a freaking van. Do they know what the studio looks like?
Yeah.
right? Like, this is crazy. And a few years ago, a few decades ago, this wasn't possible. Now, every single person watching or listening can learn from wherever they are in the world, but you have to put in the time. That's the number one thing. How do we get people motivated to want to learn, to want to study, to want to better themselves? Because it is possible. That's why I show off my millionaire students. I'm like, look at this. These are just average guys. Some people are like, oh, they're hired actors. I was like, no offense to my students, but like I would have hired better actors if they were actors. They're not. They're just real people. Half of them can't even talk. It's like Rain Man. But it's fine. They studied, they put in the time, they deserve the success. So we can just motivate people, push them more.
So what would you say that the masses, that most people do wrong when it comes to investing in the stock market?
I mean, we don't have enough time for everything that they do wrong. But again, it's wanting action. It's trying to follow other people. Like, you might hear somebody else is successful, so you try to just copy them. You get like these hot picks. Like, even if I had a hot pick from somebody and let's say it worked, I'm still going to always be reliant on them, which is bad. I don't want that. You should study so much so that you're self-sufficient. What if, let's say you find someone who's successful and they have hot picks, like during COVID, anybody thought they could be successful. There were all these like new gurus and then people were like, Sykes, you're just a boomer. You're old. You don't get the new world. This time it's different are the 4 most expensive words in the English language. This time it's different. This time it's different. Experience doesn't matter. You don't get it, boomer. And I'm like, okay. I mean, they've said this to Warren Buffett too he has periods of underperformance where like when tech is like bubbling up, he's like, I don't understand it. Warren Buffett succeeds in the long run. So don't follow like these new trends. Try to ride them if you can, but don't expect these new trends to stay in favor all the time. Don't follow anybody else. Learn from others by all means, like use their guidance, lessons, like same thing with me, like use my lessons to help build your own process, but you got to be self-sufficient. I'm a big believer in self-sufficiency. I don't care how much money like your broker or mutual fund manager might make you, you're not learning. For me, it's just about the money that I make. It's the process by which I make it. Like my students who have made $1 million, that's cool, but $1 million doesn't go very far anymore. But the process of turning 5,000 into $1 million, that process is where the value is. The million is just the byproduct. And my students now who have made 5, 10, 15 million, they're using the same process that they did to make their first million and just using it with bigger size. So you got to really fine tune your process, which most people don't want to do because it takes time.
So someone's out there living in Alabama, Arkansas, and they throw in their first $5,000 into the stock market and they buy one stock and it goes up 30 or 40%. How do they decide, like, when am I supposed to sell? When do I take profits? What the heck is dollar cost averaging? Like, when do I decide if I just want to put some money in the stock market? I'm not trying to day trade. I just live in Alabama or Arkansas and I just want to put some money in the stock market.
Why do you say Alabama or Arkansas?
I just pick two random states.
I mean,
Let's start with an A.
Yeah, right? They're like right next to each other too. Listen, I never go into a trade or investment without a plan. Like, a lot of people do. They just want to ride AI. They want to buy an NFT. They just want to like dip their toes in. So they don't know if a stock is up or if an NFT is up. They're just like, oh, I'm experiencing it for the first time. I'm enjoying the ride. It's no different than like going to the movies and buying some popcorn and watching the movie. If you're in a trade, if you're in an investment, you're not just a bystander. Like, this is your money. You should have a plan. So whenever I put my money into anything, even though I'm, trading for charity, so technically it doesn't matter to me, like either way, I want to donate more to charity and I want to show good planning and good discipline. So if I'm in a stock, my usual goal is to make 15, 20, 25%. Versus my loss. If I'm wrong on that stock, I want to lose 1, 2, 3, 4%. Nice. So my risk reward is 5 to 1, 6 to 1, 7 to 1. So there's much more upside. I don't know how to make 100% or 200%. I have no patience whatsoever. I've been in probably, maybe 1,000 trades that have gone up 1,000% and I take like 20%. Sure. This is number one problem that I have. I'm very good at the small stuff. And this is how I've turned a few thousand into a few million now several times. I don't know how to go big. I don't know how to have patience. But I will say, if you are up big, it's usually good just to lock some in along the way. I know a lot of crypto people, they held all the way up. They're holding all the way down. And I'm like, just take some profits. I know hodling is like the big thing. But what if you just lock in a third? What if you lock in half, when it goes up too much? That's what I think.
All right, so we talked about making money. We talked a bit about investing money. Let's talk about our third and most important topic to you, because you've built now 115 schools Talk to us about Karmagawa. Why'd you do it? How did it happen? Walk us through all of it.
Yeah. So, like I said, for teaching purposes, it's good for me to go back to a small account because most of my students have $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to their name. So it does me no good. Like if I'm trading with $1 million, there's a lot of traders on Twitter and stuff. They trade with $1 million and they're like, made 20K today. But they're betting like 800,000. Right. So if you tried to do what they did with a small account, A, you wouldn't make it. B, you don't learn anything. It's just bragging. So I trade with a small account. It's better for me. I'm traveling all the time. I just flew in from Japan, came right from the airport, here for a day, flying back to Bali, right? So for me, I needed to find something that works for me, where trading with a small account is boring. Like I understand many people have a small account, like that's all the money they have, like they should take care of it. I could trade with millions. I could trade with like 10 plus million if I wanted to, but I have to trade small for my students. So now how do I stay like motivated, right? Donating all my trading profits to charity makes it more fulfilling. The adrenaline rush is gone. You lose the adrenaline rush. Like you've lost the adrenaline rush with like companies. It's just like dollars, like odds. You want to do the right thing. The adrenaline rush from profits or trading or gambling will fade over time. You need to find something that makes it meaningful. So as I've been traveling more and more, I've been to over 100 countries. There's only so many luxury pools and like, mojitos and pina coladas that you can have before you're like, what else is there, right? Like we were in South Africa together. We're staying at some beautiful places, but let's help like the locals. Let's help the animals. So started getting into charity. I'm big into education, so it was a natural fit to build a school. If I build one school, I build two schools. Let's build more schools. So we're building schools all over. I'm donating the trading profits. We have this charity merch. Can they see this? Yeah. Was this video too? YouTube, yeah. He's wearing the charity merch. I'm wearing the charity merch. We'll get you some. We'll get you some. This is the new stuff. So this, I just came from Japan. This is made in Japan. Feel how soft this is. This is recycled materials, right? This is recycled materials. My partner, Bad Boy, he's a photographer, great man, great designer. He designed this. So this is actually like make peace, not war. This is going to help like the victims of war in like Yemen, Ukraine, Afghanistan. This is to help the animals, fittingly enough. We now support over 100 different charities. We've donated 8+ million, but between the trading profits, between the charity merch, between, we have a few documentaries, it makes it all meaningful. Like I'm so pumped. You don't get a lot of sleep because you're like, a businessman, right? You're like Dr. Evil. You're like, always thinking, and you love that stuff. You don't sleep because you're like loving the animals. I don't sleep because I'm traveling, I'm teaching, I'm trading, I'm doing what I love. We've all found what we loved. And that's why, frankly, we're all living the dream life. But giving back, no matter what you love, if you can donate some of your profits, like money goes so far, and especially in third world countries. Like I'm flying to Bali. Like I said, we're building homes now, $2,500 per home for families who are basically like living in tents. We're going to Turkey. We donated, roughly $300,000 to the Turkey and Syria earthquake victims. 250,000 buildings collapsed in Turkey. Right? Like it's 250,000 buildings. Like it's not just like two buildings, 250, like the whole country really got hit hard and the government doesn't have money. So you have 3 million people living in tents right now. And it's not like, let's just live in tents until they rebuild. There's no rebuilding because there's no money. So once you start looking at the world and you start traveling, again, I like luxury. I like relaxing. I was just in a beautiful spot in Japan for a little bit. But then you go out and you see where money can really help people and help animals. And we're also destroying the planet. Like the reason why we make this out of sustainable, like recycled materials, fast fashion is destroying the world. I know everyone loves tagging like Aloe and Fashion Nova and, all this like, what is it? Shein. I don't know. Have you looked at Shein? You should look at Shein. This is like $100 billion Chinese company that popped up out of the blue, and they like crap on all these other fast fashion companies. They're releasing 900 new dresses like every day, and the dresses are like $15 or $20. But fast fashion might be cheap for the consumer, but it comes at a cost for the planet. Like the way that fashion is made, fast fashion, it's terrible for the planet. So there's always a cost somewhere. So when you travel more, when you learn more, even if you can't travel, like look at this stuff up on the internet, like you can see it. You don't have to use me as a resource. Once you start seeing this, you're like, how do I help? Don't buy this fast fashion crap. Don't, use as much plastic as you used to. Like there's different things that we can do to make this world better. But the best thing that you can do is get rich, because then you can really use your wealth to give back and affect a lot of change.
Tarzan, talk to us about the experience when you went out and traveled with Tim.
Well, I've been dying to talk to Tim on a podcast for years. So if you guys don't know, I did my first real trip across the pond with Tim. Went to like South America, Central America, and then I met with Tim one day on South Beach. He's like, dude, I want to go to Africa. I want to go to Australia. And we did our Save the Reef campaign, Karmagawa campaign over there for anti-poaching of rhinos and helping giraffes, Bronx Giraffe Manor. It was just so beautiful, man, to be able to see someone so passionate about animals, also about the stock market and finances, be so well versed in such a wide variety of different things and bring everybody together. You brought like 8, 10 influencers together, but 2 guys were camera guys. 1 guy's a drone guy. Matt does the photography. Me and Kel did the animals. We had a couple other models that did sustainability. So it was really good to see Tim put everything together and make it flow, And then the best part about it is our documentary went viral. I think it had 30 million views.
30 million.
Raised over $1 million. It was the coolest thing ever. And one thing I'm still so proud of to this day that I always represent the Karmagawa merch, because it's actually something it's new, it's modern, and it's changing the world. With young people wanting to make the earth a better place, doing eco-friendly merch, stuff like that, putting it out there. I seen that they're like dumping fast fashion in the middle of the desert. There's like mountains and mountains of, sweaters, shorts, socks, dresses, just living in a desert because they just dump it out there. There's nowhere else to put it, So it's cool to learn, from someone like Tim who believes in us young guys and to bring us around the world and get to work, something we're passionate about. I did my first dive in the Great Barrier Reef with Tim. My first time ever in Australia. Just, oh man, I get goosebumps thinking about it. And since we came back from Africa, I've been 5 more times. I just got back from Australia again for a month over there. So it's really good to go back to these places and circle backs, hang out with Aboriginals, hang out with the locals in Africa, all around from South Africa all the way to Egypt. That's amazing, man. So I want everybody to really support the messages that Karmagawa, Save the Reef, Pencils of Promise are doing, and it's something I really stand by, and I love.
What is the website for it, or where can they watch the YouTube? Like, tell us some of the sites so people can actually go look at these things.
Karmagawa.org.
Karmagawa.org and Karmagawa.com. We have different stuff on different websites, whether it's the merch or the documentaries. The Save the Reef documentary is called 50 Minutes to Save the World by Amir. We brought him. We're supposed to just do a 5-minute little video about the reef, but we saw so much destruction with coral reefs, and we don't realize, like people say, oh, we want to save the trees. We don't realize that there's more underwater trees than overwater trees. Like underwater trees are actually even more important, and we're destroying the coral reefs in so many different ways. And you can help just by like using the right suntan lotion. Like there's certain chemicals in suntan lotion that shouldn't be used on coral reefs. It kills all the marine life, and that's eventually going to kill us. So it's like the younger generation through, social media, whether you watch the documentary on YouTube, it's called The War Against Poaching by Sam Coulter, another videographer who we brought out, and that's on YouTube. That one got 30 million views on Instagram. Save the Reef got 15 million views on YouTube because also Aquaman, Jason Momoa promoted it too. So we're getting influencers, we're getting celebrities, really just to spread awareness, because like money is nice, like building schools, building homes, but a lot of what we're doing to animals in the environment, it's just due to irresponsible like ignorance. We don't know like what we're doing because we don't realize, again, the long-term implications, right? Like people need to understand what we do today, what we do in a month, what we do in a year, all of that affects future generations. People don't want to think about it. And it's the same thing with your education. Like what you do today, this week, this month will affect what your life is like in 2028, 2030. So everyone just needs perspective. And I really think if you start planning for the future, you'll be shocked at what you can accomplish like faster than you realize, even though it does take time. Right? Like changing your ways, using less plastic, helping animals. Like you're not going to see an overnight immediate benefit, but over the years, like if, every person did their part, you would see change. Same thing with your financial education. If you put in an hour, 2 hours of studying every day, you're not going to see any benefits right away, but 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, it's going to be night and day. That's what people need to see.
Our first year with the toy drive, there was 8 of us sitting on the floor wrapping toys. Our second year, there was 20-ish. Third year, there was 30-ish. And now we just did the world's largest toy drive because math and time just compounds. Every year, just more people want to volunteer, more kids are showing up, more people are supporting, more people are donating. When you say 115 schools, like that's a lot. Like you say it casually, but that's a lot. Like
36,000 students every day go to school right now in our schools. but the goal is to build 1,000 plus. And it's, I like compounding because you can compound like your own income. You can compound your growth, especially on social media. Like, Karmagawa has 1.5 million followers.
Whoa.
Grew huge with these documentaries, with people sharing. But it's very difficult to compound. Like, every home takes the same amount of time to build. We're trying new techniques. We built a school actually in Madagascar using 3D printing, which was crazy. Our average school cost around $35,000. The Madagascar school costs $180,000. Why would you spend so much? Because you're using a new technology. It's not efficient right now. It's not, very good cost-wise, but trying this new technology, we basically ship this giant 3D printer. It's like the size of this van, and it goes around and it prints everything, and it's like liquid cement and it solidifies. So it takes basically 2 days to print a school from scratch. But you have to get the printer there. In Madagascar, it was like a 12-hour drive from the airport. The printer got damaged on the way from the 12 hours, so then I had to do another 12 hours and then come back. It was a whole mess. But at the same time, new technology takes a while. Same thing with this. Like if you're trying to learn to make money, it's not going to be a fun process in the beginning. I had a student the other day being like, Tim, like it's been 6 months, I'm studying, but I'm not having fun. And I'm like, yeah, no crap. Like it's not fun, but you get to have fun after a while because then you can learn, you be self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency creates confidence. Confidence creates happiness. Expertise creates money and income over time. That's when you get to have fun. The process is not fun. The process of you getting jacked, like you're waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning, that's not fun. Some people like that. They're sick in their minds, right? Like the process of trying to save an animal, a whole species from being endangered. Like it's not fun in the beginning, but it's rewarding. The process of building a business in the beginning, when you're just putting like the foundation and like everything can go wrong when you have a startup. Anything and everything. I bet you have so many horror stories, right? But then when you succeed, the ups are great. Like the sweet isn't as sweet without the sour. So people need to go through the grind. You need to find what you love, focus on it, go through the ups and the downs, keep going, understand that it's always going to be messy. Nothing is perfect. But over time, when you do succeed, you're going to remember those downs. You're going to remember those pits. Like when I lost $500,000 when I first invested, right? And I had no rules. Press ripped me a new one because I was on TV. I hated it. For the first few months, it sucked. Now I look back and say that was one of the best experiences of my life. I've never had another $500,000 loss. I've learned to respect the press. I'm not the cocky, dumb kid that I was. I deserved that loss. And it made me a better trader. It made me a better investor. And it made me a better teacher. If you don't have losses, if you don't have mistakes, if you don't have horror stories, you don't have the full perspective. You're due for a loss. Like I'm always worried about people who are like, I don't need any big losses. I don't need that. I'm learning from you. And I'm like, you need that emotional scarring so that you remember what not to do. That's all part of your journey. You won't be truly successful until you have that emotional scarring. I'm not saying you have to lose $500,000, but understand that you will make mistakes no matter how confident you are, no matter how well prepared you are. Something won't go according to plan. Then it's a question of how will you deal with it and how will you come back from it.
Last question. Why do you think that individuals, businesses, or brands should incorporate charity into their lives each year? Charity has changed my life. Like before this, I was just all money. Like I had all my dream cars. I bought like a Rolls Royce, a Ferrari, McLaren, 2 Lambos. My second Lambo, and this sounds bad. My second Lambo was one of my worst days ever. The second Lambo getting delivered. First Lambo, I'm like, yeah, childhood dream. I'm the man. Second Lambo, I'm like, I feel nothing. Yeah. Do I have cancer? I did a $10,000 cancer test that day. I was like, what's wrong with me? It just didn't motivate me anymore. So for me, I had to, again, fulfill my childhood dream. There's nothing wrong with wanting luxury or material goods. But once you have it, I think that you'll find that it gets old very quickly and you want more. There's a lot of unhappy rich people out there because they're just focused on their bank account, focused on luxury. They're focused on what they think they want. But then when they get it, it's not necessarily going to make them happy. So why should individuals, why should businesses give back? I think that it's going to unlock a whole new just a whole new world for everybody. Like all these new feelings, new inspiration. I get pumped now when I donate, when I make a trade, because I know I'm going to donate that. When, we do a documentary film and it gets the word out,
for our rhino poaching video, it was actually amazing. We get, I manage the social media for Karma Gal. I'm obsessed with that. I'm like a micromanager. So I'm looking at the DMs. When this rhino video started hitting, we got this one message from this inner city teacher in Chicago. And she's like, these are inner city kids, Chicago, not the nicest place, like very dangerous place. And she's like, she left like a little voice message, and she's like, she mispronounced it. She was like, Karmawaga, I don't know what you guys do. Karma Gawa, by the way, Gawa means to do or to make in Tagalog. Matt, my partner, is Filipino, so we're making good karma. So it's Karma Gawa, not Karmawaga. But she said, she doesn't know, right? She's like, leaves a little DM with her voice saying like, Karmawaga, I don't know what you guys do, but 5 of my students changed their class topic, like they have a class project, to rhinos. And these are inner city kids in Chicago. They're never going to see a rhino, most likely, but they started to care, and we unlocked something. So whatever it is, whether it's animals, whether it's the environment, whether it's building homes, building schools, donating, food at your local food bank, toys to kids in need. There's so many different issues around the world, or even when there's like an emergency, when, it's Turkey and Syria or Yemen or Afghanistan. Like some people say like, oh, only like help America, help everybody. We're all on the same planet together. We're all connected. Like some people are like, oh, that country deserves it. They're not right. Like everyone needs a little help, and we should all try to help each other. I think that you'll be very fulfilled, and it's actually, forget just the feelings. It's good business because it shows that you're not like these evil companies. There's so many evil companies that don't do any charity, and they're destroying the world. And they might be making big profits, but they're gradually turning their customer base off because people can see if like you're evil. Yeah. People can see if you're like evil in NFTs. Like there are people who made a lot of money in NFTs or crypto, but they burned everybody. Their careers are dead. People don't forget that. Don't burn people. Don't be a bastard. Don't be evil. Give back, and people will come to you. Like my business has grown when people see that I'm donating all my trading profits. Right. Nobody else in the trading world like does that. The only people that don't like it are like, my former New York banker friends, and now their girlfriends or wives like follow Karmagawa, and every time we have a new post, they send them to their husband or boyfriend. They're like, donate more. Yeah, exactly. And they're like, Tim, stop doing this. I'm like, no, donate more. There's so many rich people out there who could really do so good, like so much good out there. And it takes awareness and a little motivation. Try one school, try one home, try saving, one animal, try, not even money. Like even if you don't have a lot of money, you can donate, go donate your time, volunteer at your local food bank. There's so much you can do.
That's literally why 1/3 of our podcast is about charities, because we want those rich people out there to donate. We want people that can't afford it to donate their time, energy, social media power.
Social media shares help a lot, right? Even if you have no money whatsoever, let's say you're broke, you're grinding, that's fine. We all start somewhere, but you can share. Even if you have like, people are like, I only have 30 followers. That's fine. Yeah. Every share helps spreading awareness. And this is the beauty of social media. This is the beauty of this technology. Hopefully this, podcast will be listened to millions of times. And if we can reach, some people say like, if I could reach one people, like I don't want to reach one person. Yeah. I want to reach like 10,000 people at one time. Imagine if 10,000 people all donated $10 to whatever their favorite charity is right now. One podcast, $100,000 to a good cause.
Well, millions of people are going to listen to this episode. We're number 4 in the world today. So thank you guys for listening and sharing. Tarzan, tell us a quick story about your trip to Giraffe Manor with Timothy and why you're building your own version of Giraffe Manor here at Black Site Ranch.
Okay, so the first time I got to Africa, South Africa, we flew in Cape Town and we drove over to Kenya. And we got to Giraffe Manor, and actually all the giraffes were going out to the field to go to sleep for the night. And the warthogs came up. Timon and Pumbaa, from Lion King. So we're feeding them little pellets, and they're getting close. And, I went down to touch one, and, he got real close. And it spooked me so bad because, I got inches away. I finally touched it and just... put his tusk up, and it freaked me out. And I was like, oh, that was great. And he scurried up into the bushes. And then the next morning, maybe 6 a.m., they start coming out to your window. I wake up and I go down the stairs. I couldn't even wait for it to come to my window. I just saw them come from a distance. I said, I want to see these guys come up. And they had released one of the babies. Came out. So I saw a 6-foot baby coming, and he's all galloping right in a little front area, and he's got the zoomies. And just to see a little 6-foot giraffe have zoomies, it's just the cutest thing you can ever think of in your entire life. Then we spent Thanksgiving there. We had Thanksgiving dinner there, so it was one of my first times spending away from my family in the States, and I was with my new family out in Karmagawa. And it was cool, man. It was one of the best feelings ever. To eat French toast and giraffes are sticking their heads in the window and like trying to, eat off your plate and giving you kisses. It's awesome, man. It's super historic. And that's one thing that we're going to do here is we have a rescue giraffe we're going to be getting soon. And we're building a big, huge area for it here in Temecula, California at the Wild Jungle. And you'll be able to go, have an Airbnb experience, eat your breakfast, and see a rescue giraffe come hang out at your balcony. It'd be pretty cool.
Tim, in the world of chaos, what's your last words for people as we go through in the medias talking about recessions and craziness and stock market and economy and bop, 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 bop. They're hearing all these things. How do people stay calm in the chaos?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be fear-driven media. Like that's how they make money. They don't have as much Donald Trump as they used to entertain people. So the fear is going to be exaggerated. The hype is going to be exaggerated. You have to realize what drives mania, what drives social media. You got to cut through all that BS and you need to find, again, what makes you happy, find your lane and recognize that all the chaos, all the fear creates opportunity, right? Like when prices are depressed, again, if the media is ripping on like a sector, if they're ripping on, NFTs, they can still come back. Let's not forget, for all the hate with Bitcoin, and again, I'm not a fan of all the crypto scammers. There's so many scams out there. But for all the hate, Bitcoin has been the single best performing asset, not just for a year, but for the past decade, right? Same thing with gold, where a lot of people are like, oh, gold is amazing, and you have all these gold bugs. Gold as an asset over decades has sucked. It's absolutely sucked. And so you have all these people, spouting all these narratives. But we now have data.
Right.
So you can cut through all the narratives and you just focus on the data. Yeah. Be like, oh, everyone hates Bitcoin. Well, why is it the single best performing asset in the past decade? Everyone thinks that the US dollar is going to crap and everyone should buy gold. Well, the US dollar has still appreciated compared to gold. Stop believing BS, start researching more, use all these tools. We have all these new tools that are being built every single day. And people don't realize it. Now with AI, everything's going to explode because you have all this new technology. Again, that's compounding. The first layer of technology, the internet, fantastic, but it keeps getting better. Now AI can speed everything up. So the next few years are going to be incredible. Forget the fear, forget, all the people who are negative. I always say, weed negative, toxic people out of your life, because they'll always hold you back. That's just their perspective. Maybe they had a bad childhood. Maybe they're in a bad relationship. Maybe they lost all their money. And so they're spouting that negativity and projecting it on you. Don't give in to that. I've had a fantastic life. You've had a fantastic life. You've had a fantastic life. And it's just beginning. If you stay positive, if you find what you love, and if you're very meticulous and opportunistic. Understand the fear is never going to go away. You can't be stop spouting fear. And the fear mongers are going to be like, okay, I'll stop. That'll never happen. They'll do what they do. The world will do what it does. But you have an opportunity to A, become very wealthy, B, become very self-sufficient, and C, become very happy. Because happiness is created from freedom, wealth, giving back, and having good relationships. So I'm a positive guy. And I'm very excited the next few years. The hardest workers, those who study and use these new tools, not who are scared of them, they will benefit the most. You don't have to listen to this, right? You can be fear-based. You can live in, a small world, just spout your little conspiracy theories and be miserable. There's people like that. Or you can take advantage, be open-minded, and really capitalize. It's up to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just listened to Timothy Sykes here on the Money Mondays. Make sure to follow him across all social media platforms. It's at Timothy Sykes. This is also important. If you want to learn about the stock market, definitely check out his courses. If you want to go to his live events, but most importantly and most passionately to me is what he's done with Karmagawa, 115 schools and growing. So check out The Real Tarzan, check out Timothy Sykes, and we have one favorite request for you guys every single week. We all grew up thinking it's rude to talk about money. We think it's rude to not talk about money because that's why we're in a lot of these economic crises, and a lot of reasons that people go into debt is they don't know about salaries and rent and apartments and leases, and they don't know anything about stocks, etc., because we just don't talk about it because it was rude. So we think it's rude to not talk about money. So it's your job to share podcasts like this, talk with your friends, talk with your staff, talk with your family, etc., about money. You can visit us at themoneymondays.com, share us on the podcast, and we'll see you guys next Monday.